In Lesson 11, I'm going to show you some custom changes that you can make to Windows. These are Rick's personal recommendations. I'm going to show you how to get your Start button back with a third-party application called Classic Shell. We're going to turn on the Quick Launch bar. We're going to customize the taskbar the way I like it. And I'll show you some other recommendations of programs you should download and use that are very cool. As I've belly ached a couple times so far during this class, I really hate the fact that Microsoft got rid of the Start button. It's that evident that you have to come down here in the corner and there's the Start menu. Why can't they have just left the button there? Well, fortunately, there are a few third-party replacements that you can download that will replace that Start button. Now, I've evaluated a couple different ones, and the best one that I've found so far is one called Classic Shell. It's free. You can download it from their website. I'm going to show you how to install it real quick. So let's open up Internet Explorer. In your address bar, type in classicshell.net. It's .net, not .com. So classicshell.net. That'll bring you to their homepage. I'm sure it'll have changed by now. All right, come right down here. Here's the download link, and make sure if you like it, you donate something. I sent them a few bucks. So if you like this, make sure you donate to their cause. Click on the Download Now link here. All right, it says your download will start in, and it'll count down here. I missed the countdown. But down here on the bottom, it says, do you want to run or save Classic Shell Setup 365.exe from? Now, remember what I said before about downloading stuff from the internet? Well, this is a safe source. So we're going to come over here. We're going to pick Save. Okay, it's running. It ran a security scan, and then it said the download has completed. Now, you can run it right where it is now, or you can open your download folder and view it in there, or you can view the downloads in Internet Explorer. I'm going to click on Open Folder. All right, that'll open up my Downloads folder. And here you can see right there, Classic Shell Setup. All right, so let's double-click on this Classic Shell Setup, and that'll start the Classic Shell Setup wizard. It's pretty easy to run through the Setup wizard. I'm going to come down here and click Next. All right, here's their license agreement. Go ahead and read through all this. Accept it. Next. All right, by default, it's going to install all this stuff. Yeah, that's fine. Just hit Next again. All right, ready to begin. Install. There's that little shield button. That means you have to be an administrator to do this. I'll hit Install. All right, Setup Wizard's doing its thing. Status bar should move across here. Okay, the user account control thingy comes up. Now, this is another level of Windows security. See the little shield? It says, do you want to allow the following program from an unknown publisher to make changes to this computer? Well, this thing is safe. Yes, I vouch for it. Hit yes. And there we go. Now the Setup Wizard's doing its thing, installing some stuff. All right, click the Finish button. The README file pops up here in WordPad. And you can read down through here and see what all the changes are. It's a pretty good setup guide. It tells you what features are available, things you can do, and so on. Read through this if you get a chance. I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to close down my Downloads folder and my Internet Explorer browser. And oh, look what I got down here in the bottom left corner. I've got a Start button back. Yeah, it looks like a little shell, a little clamshell, but that's fine. That's their logo. But it's still, I got a Start button back. Hooray. Now, the first time you click on it, it's going to open up the Settings menu. Okay, now you got to pick how you like your Start menu to appear. Do you want the Windows Classic, Windows XP, or the Windows Vista Windows 7 look? I like the Windows Vista Windows 7 look. All right, so I'm going to click on that. It says the menu items and the skin setting will be reset to match the selected style. Do you want to continue? Yes. You can also come in here and tweak the basic settings. What the left click does, what the shift click does. There's all kinds of settings in here. Everything you can think of you can play with in here. There's also skin settings. You can change the way that it actually looks in a lot more detail. I just go with these basic options here for now. All right, come down here and then hit OK. Now, when you click on your Start button, you now have the classic traditional Windows 7, Windows Vista Start menu. All right, here's all your programs. They're organized in nice, neat little folders like they used to be. There's my administrative tools, maintenance options, startup group, Windows accessories. So for those of you like me who are used to the old school Windows, I love this. They've even got a section down here called Apps that show you your Windows 8 apps. Now, if you click on one of these guys, it's going to load up in the Windows 8 full screen mode. All right, and there we are. Of course, I'm zoomed in right now. but I'm going to exit out of this and go back to my desktop, where I can continue to play with my new Start button. All right, there's search, which you can also type search in here. All right, one of the things that I don't like about Windows 8 is that it's very difficult to make a desktop shortcut to something. There's a long, convoluted process. But if you want to make a shortcut in here, just go to Programs, find what you want, like under Windows Accessories. Let's say you want to make a shortcut to, oh, I don't know, Paint. All right, to make a shortcut, all you do is right-click and drag and drop it right here, and then go Create Shortcuts. And there you go. You got a shortcut to Paint right on your desktop. I do that all the time. Now, we'll talk a lot more about what shortcuts are in a future lesson. But shortcuts are essentially, see the little arrow there? This is just like a pointer to the Paint application. I didn't actually copy Paint application files to my desktop. It's just a pointer. And I can double-click on it now and then run Paint. And there it is. All right, which I'll close right now. But that's a shortcut. Very hard to make those desktop shortcuts under Windows 8 the way that it comes out of the box. Now, if you want to change the Windows shell settings, right-click on this Start button and come in here to Settings. And I do want to mention one thing. It changes some of the behavior, like the Windows key, for example. Normally, when you hit the Windows key on your keyboard, it opens up the Windows Start screen. Well, now it's going to open up the classic Start menu, the classic shell menu, this thing that we just saw. So if you want to change that, you can change that here. There's also options down here where it opens up the Start menu in Desktop and Start screen in Metro. So if you switch over to the Metro or Modern interface, it'll still open up the Start screen. So you can change the behavior right there. There's also a Shift window. All right, the Shift Windows key opens up the Windows Start screen. So it changes some of the keyboard shortcuts. So just be aware of that. Me personally, I leave it that way. When I hit the Start button on my keyboard, I want this Start menu to open up. That's the way I like it. If I want the Start screen, the Metro Start screen, I bring up the Charms bar and then just hit Start. Now the Charms bar is another keyboard shortcut. It's Win C. All right, Win C on your keyboard opens up the Charms bar. Then you can come right up there. Oop, I missed it. Hit it again. You can come right up there and hit Start, and it brings you back into here. And you're in the Start menu. But personally, I've found that once I installed Classic Shell, I almost never come in here myself. But that's just me. Again, if you're using a touch device or you like the Metro interface, the modern interface, then you might want to do it differently. That's why this is the configuring portion of our class. The next configuration change I want to make is I like to change this back to the classic way that the taskbar used to look. I like to see the actual name of the application down here. Sometimes the icons aren't really representative, and I don't necessarily want these always pinned down here. Instead, I like what's called a quick launch bar. All right, so if you like this, if you're happy with this, by all means stick with it. But I'm going to show you something a little bit different. This is the way that like Windows XP used to work, and I fell in love with it. So I'm going to switch this back so it acts like Windows XP. The first thing I'm going to do is create a folder to store my toolbar icons. Okay, so come down here on the taskbar, right-click, go to Toolbars. You'll see a list of different toolbars you can bring up that are already in the system. Ignore those. Go to New Toolbar. This will put you in your Documents folder, in your Documents library. Click on New Folder, and call this, let's call this Rick's Toolbar. And then hit Select Folder. Okay, now way over here on the right, you'll see Rick's Toolbar. That's the name of it, the caption of it. We've just created a folder to store the different icons, the shortcuts that we want, in our quick launch bar. But it's locked. So here's what we have to do. We have to unlock the taskbar. So right-click over here and turn off Lock the Taskbar. Now you can see this little bar here. Okay, there's a bar here, and there's also a bar over here. Now I want to take the Rick's Toolbar, grab this bar, and drag it over to the left. Watch this. Drag it over here and drop it on the left. I want the Rick's Toolbar on the left side of this taskbar portion. And you can grab this bar and slide it back over like so. My quick launch buttons are going to go right here. Now, how do I get the quick launch buttons in here? Well, find the icons that you want and then drag them into that folder. For example, you want Internet Explorer in there, click on it, drag it, drop it down here where it says Create Link in Rick's Toolbar, and let it go. Now, you just moved Internet Explorer onto your quick launch bar. But it's over here, you said, yeah, that's okay, ignore that. I want the taskbar to only show me running applications. We're going to unpin these in a minute. But I'm not done configuring this yet. All right, let's turn off this title. We don't need to see this Rick's toolbar. Right-click, turn off Show Title, and if you want to, also turn off Show Text. See? Now all I see is that little tiny E for Internet Explorer. It's a quick launch button. Click on it, and it opens up Internet Explorer. Okay? But this does the same thing. You said, yeah, kind of. But what I want is, I only want this to show what's running. So I'm going to unpin this guy from the taskbar. It's not a running task. Now watch. Click, and it shows up over here. See that? And now this tells me that's running. Okay? I can close it again, and now it disappears. So what I want is, I want little shortcuts for the stuff I want to launch over here on the quick launch bar, and the taskbar just shows me running tasks. So I'm going to get rid of all these guys. Right-click, unpin. Right? Unpin. 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 Get rid of these. Okay. So now I've got my quick launch bar, and my taskbar just shows me the stuff that's running. So if I open up computer, look at that. It shows up over here, and it's running. And when I close it, it goes away. That's how I like the taskbar to perform. I want to see what programs are currently in use, what's running right now. Now, if you want my computer down here, just click on it, drag it, and drop it right there. Create link. And now I've got a link to quickly launch it. And you can move these around too. Click and drag them, slide them around. Right? Click, and now I can see that I've got computer open. Now, these guys here, these are pretty big. So what I like to do is, I like to right-click, go to Properties. This brings up the taskbar properties. All right, lock the taskbar was that thing we saw a minute ago where you can't make changes. Auto hide the taskbar makes it slide out of view when you're not using it. I don't like that. Only if you got a really, really small screen do I use that option. This one here is one that I like though. Use small taskbar buttons. And if you hit apply, notice how these guys are nice and small now. And with taskbar buttons, it says always combine hide labels. Combine means if you've got multiple copies, multiple windows of Internet Explorer open, for example, it'll show you just one icon for that. I'm going to change this though. I'm going to go to combine when taskbar is full. So that way if the taskbar fills up, if you got way too many icons open, it will start to combine them, but generally it'll show you multiple ones. And that will also show you the labels. So I'll hit apply now. Notice I've got labels down here. I like to see those labels. I want to know what that is. Is that computer? That's taskbar properties. Okay, I can see what's running. Okay? Hit OK. Close this. And now you can very easily see what's running and what's not running. Okay? If I open up my recycle bin, look at that. I can see the recycle bin is running. Or is open. And I can quickly switch between open applications down here. Computer. Maybe Internet Explorer. I'll hit the quick launch button. And I can see the different things that are running right down here. And yes, if you hover your mouse over them, you can see these little quick previews here too. You can click on that and it'll open it up. That's how I like the taskbar to behave. It's a Windows XP thing. All right? And once you're happy with this, you can relock the taskbar if you want to. Right-click, right, lock the taskbar, and now those things become solid and immovable. Generally, I leave it unlocked because I'm always making changes and tweaking it. If you want to add more shortcuts, open this up. Now that you got Classic Shell installed, it's real easy, right? Go to Programs, Windows Accessories, find my calculator, click and drag calculator right down here. Boom. There's my calculator. Right there. Click, launch it. You can see it's running. I think this is better, personally. Right? You want to print, Microsoft Word or Excel or any of the things you got. You can drag them down there. Here's a desktop icon, which you really don't need, but, right? WordPad, Microsoft Excel, whatever other things you want. Click on it, drag it, put it right down here in your quick launch area. You want WordPad? Boom. There it is. And notice these are much, much smaller. You can fit a whole bunch of these on here. And if you want, you can actually make the taskbar 2 levels high by clicking and dragging right there. So I just made it taller. Sometimes I leave this about like that, and I've got like 3 rows of icons over here on some of my machines. Usually 1 row's enough. So those are the 2 big configuration changes that I like to make to Windows 8. I like to add the Classic Shell, so I've got a Start button. Love my Start button. And I like to add the Quick Launch Bar and unpin stuff from the taskbar. That way I only see the applications that are running down here on the bottom. Okay, now I want to go through and just mention some other programs that you might want to download that I find extremely useful. The first one is an alternate web browser called Google Chrome. You can find it at google.com/Chrome. Internet Explorer is fine, but Google Chrome is much, much better. I think it's faster. It renders web pages better. You can synchronize the settings in it with other devices if you have an Android phone. I'm an Android nerd myself. I love my Android phone and my Android tablet, and my Google Chrome browser syncs up nicely with those. If you have a Windows phone, then stick with Internet Explorer. But Google Chrome has a lot of nice features in it. It's free, so download it, give it a shot. If you listen to a lot of music, I strongly recommend Winamp. It's a great media player. You can use it to manage your library of music. It runs in Windows desktop mode, so it's not an app that takes up the full screen. It'll sync with your Android device if you're like me and you've got an Android. Plus, they also have their own online radio stations, so it's really cool. Check it out. Next is the VLC Media Player. Oh, I should probably mention, by the way, these are not paid endorsements. These are all utilities that I personally use on a regular basis. I've been using them for years. Nobody has paid me to endorse their products here. The VLC Media Player is wonderful. It's a free video player. It also plays music too, but mostly it's for videos. And it works fabulous. I had problems a couple of years back with Windows Media Player and some of my tutorial videos not working right. So I looked for a solution. I found VLC Media Player, and it works fabulously. I can't praise it enough. It's free, of course, with all these applications. I recommend that you donate to them. Give them a few bucks if you use their products. I know I've donated to them a couple times over the years. And this is one of those applications where don't just search for VLC Media Player, because I've noticed that the top couple results on Google are other companies trying to sell you fake versions of this app. So make sure you go to that webpage, www.videoland.org, and that's where you can find the free VLC Media Player. Those are the big ones. Those are the ones I usually recommend to beginners. I always put updates on the website, windowslearningzone.com. Sometimes I endorse other products. There's some nerdy advanced stuff like WinZip that I like to recommend. But for right now, for Windows Level 1 users, those are the three you should check out.